Good morning. You're all awake? Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, they told me I got 5 minutes, but the previous man took a little longer, because I'll see if I can get a message across a little faster, okay? And I am very honored to have this award. And of course, my wife should have been here, because when she met me years ago in Ontario, and you know, she acted kind of different, maybe I acted kind of different. And then she I thought all I needed was some fine tuning. But she took a jackhammer at me and But without her, I could have never been where I am today. And I really do. Now, all the students of today, of course, you graduated. This is just one step. One step of you have some ideas of your own, and you get some ideas somewhere else. Now you got to follow your ideas. You can't blame your mother-in-law. You can't blame your mother for the failures you're going to do. But you got to make some, okay? Now, the most important thing, what I tell you, find the right partner first. That's 90% of your success story. Because if you don't have the right partner at first, you're going to have lots of bullshit after. It's usually very costly when you got to go that, because you got to divide your house in half. And which half is what? You go up and down or you go sideways. Choose the right partner. Don't go for the looks. Looks is skin deep, okay? Just go what is inside. Because what the mind of man can conceive and believe, that is what he can achieve. Nothing more, nothing less. If you don't like what you get out of life, put more into it. The hole you give through is the hole you receive through. And some of them, they make it pretty tight. And they figure if I can squeak by, there is no free lunch. Absolutely none. Keep smiling. It is the most positive thing you can do. Positive ideas, positive thoughts give positive ideas. Positive ideas give positive response. And positive response will give this country you where you are today. Alberta, why did I come to Alberta? That's one hell of a good question. I was going to go to the United States, but at that time I needed $25,000. I didn't have it. My dad didn't want to share it, and my grandpa was dead. There's the next best thing. I says, I want to go to the Wild West. I wanted to go to the West. Of course, I was at your age at that time. I knew everything better. Okay, and I said, you know, the first English speaker in the school, I says, who in the hell needs English? We'll buy the island and we'll tell them to speak Dutch. That's how dumb and green we were. We were thinking of England. I didn't have a clue that Canada existed. 2 years later, I stand in Montreal, and, oh my God, my mouth full of teeth, and I said, is that the English language we learned? No, it wasn't. Because we went with 26 people. 26 young farmers went out from the church. 3 of us went to the west, the rest stayed in the east. And of course, we always bow to the east, and I'm used to that, and that's great. But you know, in the east, I didn't feel comfortable in the east. I've met my wife in the east. And then, but I went to the west. And I came to the place of Bow Island. And like in the saying of immigration, they say, the place you're going to land is the place you're going to love. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I had no money. And then I met Emmy, and I said she wanted to be in Ontario and have a cash crop in Ontario. So I went to the bank down there, and I said, he says, how much money you got? I said, none. He said, that's exactly what you can borrow. None. Because I went back to Alberta, and we bought a half section of land for $125,000. Everybody said I was nuts, but you know, that's fine with me. That is just because I had nothing. And the Alberta government borrowed 95%. Isn't that amazing? If you have a positive swing to it, and all of a sudden I sold the idea. All I did, I sold my name. I couldn't say my dad was so-and-so. They say, who in the hell cares? My name was Tom Droog. Now, all of you have a name. All of you will have a responsibility. Some of you will go into nursing. Look at the third wave that Ralph Klein wants to go. Nobody wants to make a change. But no, everybody wants to have a hospital right beside their house. But nobody wants to pay for it. And then we call the taxpayer has to pay for it. The taxpayers, you can only absorb him with so much. After that, he says, I've had it. I'm going somewhere else. To the business community, to the business leaders, to young business leaders, make sure if you what you earn, double what you earn for your company. Your company will always stay in business that way. Make sure they make money. Because if they don't make money, they start to squeeze. And when they start to squeeze, you might get hurt. And when you make a decision, make sure it is good for him, and it is good for you, and it is good for the universe. If you make a decision that is just good for you, me, and nobody else and me, it ain't working. I doesn't work in teamwork. Work as a team. You get a hell of a lot more accomplished. We started a one-man operation. Some of my employees are dedicated. They're down here. I really see Myra. She had a 10-year trip. She went to Alaska. We have a policy at home that says if you leave for 2 weeks and nobody misses you, you're done. Myra, welcome back because we missed you a great deal. Yes. And then, of course, who got me into the sunflower seeds? And, of course, you heard some of them from Chris, and, of course, I knew her from years ago. How do you come onto that? But, you know, God will give you an idea. Now, some people, and most people, they go to the bathroom, and they flush it. And then they say, there went the idea. And then later on, they say, you know, I had that idea. Yeah, bullshit, you didn't do nothing with it, did you? And remember, when God will meant that idea to be fulfilled, he will put something else in place because it will be fulfilled. Work with the laws of nature. That are the laws of God. If you don't work with that, it is like peeing against the wind. You get most of it back. Think positive, be positive, and surround yourself with positive people. Okay? And that is the most important thing you can do. And just go from your gut. Listen to your gut. And if you don't like what you're doing now, you want to change, go back to school. It is enormous what you have done. You came to graduate. Some of you will have a debt load up to here. There is nothing wrong with that. Young without debt is old without goods. Okay? But maybe you can make a deal with your mom and dad, or your mom and grandpa and grandma, because maybe they paid for your education. Give them a big hug, or just say you make a deal that mom and dad, or grandpa and grandpa, I'm going to pay you 10% of my wages for the rest of your life. Maybe a hug is a hell of a lot cheaper. Become an asset to society. Some of you, they got bursaries, and some of you, bitched about it, that it wasn't good enough. Now, I hope later on in life, if you can succeed, make sure you double or triple or quadruple that. Because then that is very important. Take the good things, what you learned from your parents. Take the good things and move it to the next generation. And the bad things, try to change it. But you're going to have one hell of a time doing that, because I've been there and I've done some of this stuff. And you know, when we started the business, we didn't have a clue where to start or where to finish. But you start with something. And you start with something, and then all of a sudden, from an idea come an idea. And you know, when we had Alberta Sunflower Seeds and we sell the big ones, they went to Taiwan, they went to England, they went to Spain. I don't care where I went so long I got paid. That was very important. And then all of a sudden we started in the Spitz. Like, you know, people called them already Spitz. All I did, we registered the name Spitz. Isn't that something, how that all of a sudden, that word Spitz of that name was just waiting. God put it down there for a reason, that I registered the name Spitz. It has been challenged a few times, so be it. Now you got to challenge that back. And when we started, we didn't have the foggiest idea. And you know, our first year sales were $56,000. My payments were $62,000. I couldn't even figure it out on paper how to make them. Now we're over 20 million. Isn't that amazing how that all starts? You know, when we started with the Spitz, and all of a sudden we did 3,000 bags a day. We just about peed our pants when we went to 7,000 bags. Then we went to 9,000. Where is the end, we said? But you know, we gave them value for their money. And that's what you got to give. If you go work for the company, if you're working for the hospital, and if you want to make some changes and you can't change it, don't bitch about it. Make sure if you can't change it, change the way you look at it. And if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Remarkable, but that's the way it works. You know, right now we're going for some tremendous growth, and now we just got, you know, a good guy. Like I traded my son-in-law. He went to Frito-Lay, and another guy from Frito-Lay came to us. And Miles is going to be with us, and he's going to bring it to the next level. Because Emmy and I, we missed the education. You know, we were brought up, we had grade 9, grade 12, and of course you know everything better. But you have the education. Please stay there. You know, your brain is like an elastic. It will just stretch and it will never go back to the original side. It's remarkable what it can do. It is remarkable what I see in front of us and what I see in front of me, and it's remarkable. Keep smiling, keep positive, and you know, thank this country for where you are today, because you could be born somewhere else. Thank your mom and dad, give them a big Spitz hug, and say thank you very much. Thank you, and success in the future. Keep smiling.